All right, so we are giving this a try today. You should be watching this video on Edpuzzle. I'm definitely trying something new, so we will kind of see how it all goes together. But we are working on lesson 9.4 today, and we are finding the volume of prisms. So as you're going through the lesson today, there will be points where I'll have you stop, you'll answer some questions on Edpuzzle, and then you'll continue on. Okay. All right, so I have to jump to my other computer really quick. I'm going to show my screen so that you guys can see this nice and clearly rather than a little bit small. So I'm going to share that. And I'm still down in the corner, so hopefully this all works out. Ooh, I don't want to move it there. All right, so volume of prisms today. So first off, what is a prism? So for finding the volume of a prism, let's figure out what a prism is first. A prism is a 3D shape in which two ends or bases, we're going to call the ends bases, are identical. You've definitely seen prisms before. Here are some examples. So we have a triangular prism, we've got a rectangular prism, and a hexagonal prism here as our examples. So when they say that the bases are identical, if we look at the triangular prism right here, we've got a triangle. On the opposite side, if this, you could see through that, there would be another identical triangle on the other side of that prism. So the bases or the ends here are identical, same as this rectangular prism. We have one face right here, one side. If we looked through that shape, we would see another rectangle on the other side. So the opposite sides there are identical, the two ends. And the same with our hexagonal prism. So we've got a hexagon. And on the opposite side, on the back side, we have the exact same shape. So a prism is any 3D shape where both ends, which we're also going to be calling bases, are identical. They're the same shape and the same size. We're finding the volume of prisms. So what is volume? Volume is the amount of space a three-dimensional or 3D shape occupies, the amount of space that it takes up. Volume is measured in cubic units. So anytime that you are looking at volume, your units will be cubed to the third power. And one thing that kind of helps me think about that is we're literally finding how many cubes fit inside the 3D shape. Put myself up here for now. So how many cubes fit inside of whatever this three-dimensional shape is, whether it's a triangular prism, a rectangular prism, a hexagonal prism. 3D shape, cube, 3D, right? Three-dimensional is literally telling us, hey, we're working with 3 dimensions. We're cubing to the third power. Same thing actually when we have a 2D shape and we're finding the area, we write the second power. Same idea. 2D shape is a flat shape. 3D has dimension. It's not just length and width. We also have height to these shapes. Okay. So we're looking at prisms and we're finding the volume of prisms today. Before we jump into anything more though, you guys have your first task. Your job is to tell me which of these shapes is not a prism. All right, hopefully you've answered your question here. And the shape that is not a prism is this cone right here. Why is it not a prism? Because the definition of a prism, the two ends Our bases are identical. Here's a base. It does not have another circular base up at the top. Whereas this rectangle here, we have a rectangular face in the front. Behind it is also rectangular. This triangle here, we have a triangular prism. There's a triangle on this side, and we can see in the back the same size triangle in the back. So, yes, yes, no, not a prism. We'll talk about cones another day, but today, just prisms. Alrighty, so we're gonna dive into more about specifically rectangular prisms. So rectangular prism is where we would have a rectangle as one of the identical sides. It's gonna be a rectangle. So example would be a box. We also have like a dresser here, a bookshelf are going to be rectangular prisms. So watch to see how we can find the volume of a rectangular prism. We can use what we notice in rectangular prisms to help us find the volume of other prisms as well. So we're going to use what we notice in the rectangular prisms to kind of help us with other prisms. All right. Now, played around with some fun graphics, so hopefully this all works out. So starting off, we have our base layer here. This is a 3D shape. Okay. It's 6 inches long. It is 4 inches wide. And it also has height to it. If it was a 2D shape, we'd only have a length and a width. But this shape has height to it. It's not flat on a piece of paper. It has 1 inch of height. We want to find the volume of this shape. We want to find how many cubes, how many cubic units fit inside of this shape here. We can do that by using this equation here. Volume is equal to our length times our width times the height. So our length is 6 inches. Change my color quick. Our width is 4 inches, and our height right now is just 1 inch. So the great thing about this is that when we multiply 6 times 4, we get 24, times 1 is still 24. There are 24 cubic inches inside of this shape here. We could literally count them up, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There are 24 cubes that make up this shape. So we can take what our normal area, we were just finding the area of a rectangle that was 6 by 4, be 24. We're only 1 inch tall, so we can only fit 24 cubes in that space. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create an equation. We're going to work towards an equation that we can actually use to solve any of our prisms, finding the volume of any prism. Okay. So watch what happens next. We're going to start with the same base here. There we go. We're going to start with the exact same base. We have a 6 by 4 by 1. Okay. We're going to use this equation. V, volume, equals B, and a capital B, times H. H is our height. What is B? B is the area of the base. You'll see it just turned red there. I'll go back again. you can see, area is flat, area is space, area is not three-dimensional, but we can use our area to help us. I'm gonna go back really quick, watch all that. Area. How do we find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So we can take our length, 6 times 4, 6 times 4, whoa, is 24. That is our area of our base. We have 24 times our height is 1. Basically, we took that first step where we did length times width, and we combined it into what we're going to have as the area of the base. This will be something we can use in all of the different prisms that we use today. So it's not just for this one, it works for all of them. The base, the area of the base, if we can find the area of the base, we can use that to find the volume of the whole prism. So we're going to take this one, we're going to build it up a little bit. All right. So we're going to take what we started with here, where we had before, right? Same base here. We've got 6 inches by 4 inches. Our volume is B, which is area of the base times the height. Or B, to find the area of the base, length times width. Again, shaded that in red for you. Go back. This base is our area of the base here. Area of the base is B. We can find B, our length times our width. Length times width. 6 times 4 is 24 inches squared. That is the area of our base. We're going to use that now to help us as we build this up. So we're not just going to have one layer this time. We are going to add another layer. And we are going to add another layer. So now our height is 3 inches. We know the area of our base is 24 inches squared, and now we know our height. So our base is 24 inches squared. Our height is 3 inches. We can multiply that together. And oh man, I didn't think about this one. So let's see. I have most of mine ready to go. Didn't do this one. Let's see, 20 times 3 would be 60. 4 times 3 is 12. 72. There should be 72 cubes inside here. So 72 inches cubed. If we counted them all up, so it's 24 and 24 and 24. All right. Next. Double checking on my notes here that we've got everything. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to actually pause and answer some questions. Ooh, clear? Didn't clear. All right, here we go. So your job in the equation to find volume, what does the variable B stand for? All right, hopefully you had a moment it paused and you were able to answer that. So B is the area of the base. In every single one of our prisms that we find the volume of, we can find the volume by starting with finding the area of the base. Okay. Here's your next question. In the equation to find volume, what does the variable h stand for? All right, and h is the height. H is the height of whatever your prism is. All right, now let's look at an example that is not a rectangular prism. We are going to look at a triangular prism this time. So here's our triangular prism. And the first thing that we need to figure out is, what is the area of our base? We're going to find the area of our base. Our base. Oh, perfect. It did get yellow. Remember if I had it doing that. Our base is our side. That's the same on both sides. So finding the area of a right triangle, our equation is 1/2 base times height. Right? That's how we find the area of a right triangle. So we have 1/2 of 4 times 6. So 1/2 of 4 times 6. 4 times 6, 24. Half of that is 12. So B equals 12. So our area is 12 centimeters squared of our base. Yep. So we've got 12. Now we have our height. What is the height of our prism? Just 1 centimeter right now. 12 times 1. So the volume of our prism is 12 centimeters cubed. We're finding how many cubes fit inside of here. It's a good way to remember, cubed. All right. This one's going to grow again. We're going to have this one grow as well. So just like before, where we had our rectangle, we stacked. We're going to do the same thing on this one. Here's our same triangular prism. And we're going to grow. It's not just going to be 1. Now we've got 2, 3, and 4. So we have a new measure along for our height. We are 4 centimeters tall. That is our height. So as we go to find this, once again, we need to find our base, the area of our base. So that's been shaded in yellow here. The area of our base is 1/2 base times height. We just did that, right? We had 1/2 of 6 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24. Half of that is 12. So the area of our base is 12 centimeters squared. So if I'm finding the volume, I've got 12 centimeters squared, B, times my height is 4 centimeters. 12 times 4 is 48 centimeters cubed. 48 centimeter cubes would fit inside of this shape here. 48 of them. Sure, some of them would probably have to get cut because we've got some angles here. But 48 whole cubes could fit inside of here. Always going back to this equation. B being the area of our base. All right, almost time for you guys. Get ready to try some. I've got one more example for you guys. So our final example is kind of a nice one because we don't have to find the area of the base this time. They give us the area of the base. We have currently 3 shapes that we know the best to find area of: a rectangle, a right triangle, which we can take other triangles and turn them into right triangles, and circles. We'll get to circles eventually, not yet. So if it's not one of those two shapes, most likely you'll be given what the area is. So how wonderful. We've been given that the area of our base here is 19 feet squared, 19 square feet. So all we need to do is we know B is 19. We know that our height is 8 feet. We have 19 times 8. Use your calculator if you need to. And we end up with a total of 152 feet cubed. So 152 cubic feet would fit inside of this shape right here, an octagonal prism. It's an octagon, so it's an octagonal prism. All right, so next up, there are 3 examples that you are going to be working on your own. You will, so the video, I'll show you it, it'll pause. I'd like you to work on it in your notes. When you're done with your notes, writing it in your notes, you'll type it in. That'll kind of get you to your next part of the video. Please take your time. After you do that, I will also give an explanation and give you guys go through it all. Okay, so if you happen to get the incorrect answer, your notes, you can then you'll be able to put the correct answer into your notes. Okay, so here's the first one for you to try on your own. All right, you try, find the volume of this rectangular prism here. We are showing where the base is. This is your base, or this is a base. It's a rectangular prism. So even though this looks not very rectangular here, right? Imagine you've just turned it, okay? It's just how the drawing is. This is a rectangle up there. You have all of the information to 1, find the area of the base, and then 2, find the volume. All right, give it a try. And now hopefully your try went all right. So here we go. First off, B is the area of the base. How do we find the area of a rectangle? That is our length times width. So we have 6 yards times 8 yards. 6 times 8 is 48. So 48 yards, square yards, is the area of the base. We will take our area of the base, multiply it by the height, 15 yards, and we will get our volume. So if we multiply that together, we get 720 yards cubed. So cubic yards, 720 cubic yards would fit inside of here. The volume, 720 yards cubed. All right, on to our next one. Here we have a triangular prism. Your job is to find the area of the base to help you find the volume. Notice, here's the whole base. The whole base is not necessarily a right angle or a right triangle. We know this part right here. All right, here you go. And let's take a look at this one. So first off, we need to find the area of our base. We need to find that right triangle. Now we only know this, we can easily find this part, right? And both sides are going to be the same, okay? So here on this side, we've got area of our base is 1/2 of our length, or our height, okay? So we have 1/2. Just want to make sure it's in the right one here. 1/2 of our base times our height, so 1/2 of height is 2 times our base. Ooh, this whole thing is 6, so half of that is 3. So half of 2 times 3, 2 times 3 is 6. Half of that would be 3. However, that's just this part. This part is also 3. 3 and 3 is 6. So 6 square yards is the area of our base. Now we can use that. We have 6 times our height here is 4 inches. 6 times 4. Not a lot with 6 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24. So our total volume is 24 inches. Oh, goodness gracious. Also just realizing I labeled these with different units, didn't I? I've got yards down here and inches on the other side. Interesting. Oop, sorry, guys. That's an interesting one. But anyway, so we've got 24. We're gonna say these are all inches. So we got 24 inches. Huge. All right. Last. Clear that. And this one, they give you the area of the base. So find the volume of the pentagonal prism. Was wonderful. They gave you the base, so we don't even have to find the area of the base, right? It is 43 millimeters squared. We've got 43 times our height is 15 millimeters. 43 times 15 is 645 millimeters cubed. All right. Good work. A little nervous on how long this is, but we'll play around with that. So let's see. Next, if there is time, I don't know exactly what our time looks like right now. I really should start a watch next time. So now that you've completed the video, your job is to go into IXL and work on finding the volume of some prisms. Use your notes or the video to help. So you're going to go to IXL and you're going to go to CC is surface area and volume. And number 4 is all volume of cubes and prisms. All right, there should be a star next to it. Hopefully you have time. If you don't have time today, we'll work on it tomorrow. I should be back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. So we will see. Thank you for giving your best effort because I've never done this before. See you guys later.